Okay, so we talked about clothing and kind of breezed through like all of the cross-dressing stuff I did when I was younger. Now we're going to move on to like mannerisms and general like gravitating towards what the girls did as opposed to the boys. Uh, all my life, I naturally leaned towards doing what the girls were doing and not the boys. And I did do lots of boy stuff, and I still do. I can build things and fix cars and fix appliances and HVAC and plumbing and electrical and all that stuff. Like, I can do all the boy stuff. I just prefer doing the girls stuff. And I dug deep and looked like all the way back as far as I could remember. And that's always been a thing. So we're going to talk about some specific things that I remember and just the general overview. So I'm going to pause this clip and then we'll pick back up in a second. Okay, so like I naturally gravitated towards doing what the girls were doing. One of the earliest memories I have of doing this was so we grew up in a bad area. House next door had been torn down. The slab remained and it was like elevated above ground level. So I'm really young. I'm not even sure I started school yet, but I probably did. So like there's a girl up on the concrete pad, the slab that's left, and then there's a bunch of boys down at ground level. I don't know what's going on. I'm standing back and kind of seeing the scene unfold, and she's pretending to be a stripper. Well, the boys are down there watching her strip, and they're being the audience. And what do you think I did? I got up on stage with her and started stripping too. The boys did not like. Uh, they were not impressed and did not want to see a boy up there, but that is what felt right to me to do, is not to join them but to join her. I didn't understand what was going on. Um, I used to see the girls playing double dutch, and I would always want to get in there and do it, and I'd be like, ew, you're a boy, like you can't do this. And then I would actually get in there and do it right with them. They were way better at it, but they had more practice, and I was a boy, so they can win that one. Balance beam stuff. Elementary school had a balance beam, and I never saw boys playing on it. It was always girls, and I was super like into it. Like I loved walking heel to toe on it and being able to do like a cartwheel on it and run on it, and just like the whole balance and agility and gracefulness was like my thing. So I'm going to pause that and we'll talk about some other stuff involved there. Be right back. Okay, so yeah, like with all the sports and everything, I didn't use like raw power and force and like aggressiveness like the boys did. I always used like agility and gracefulness and like a sort of flow to everything I was doing. Um, just like the girls were doing when they played their sports. So I look back at that, and I also noticed like I had way more female friends than guy friends, and I felt so much more comfortable around them. But I guess we'll kind of address that later. We'll stick as on task as we can here. We'll stay on subject. Artsy stuff, painting, writing, music. I was always a very artsy kid too, and that is one of the traits that women have that they're really good with is like art stuff. And I did everything and still do. Like I play music, I write lyrics, play bass, guitar, drums, I sing. Uh, Always loved painting and drawing and creating things with color, and I loved writing stories and just basically anything and everything art. Like I liked sculpting and modeling clay, and I was just like all about all of the arts. And we'll stop there and pick back up. So that'll bring me to like hanging out with the girls and less with the guys. Now, don't get me wrong, I had a lot of guy friends and I did a lot of the stuff that the boys were doing all the way back to a young age. So it's not like I was only doing what the girls did. I did both. But it felt better doing the girl stuff. Like with the boys, it was more like I was doing it because they were doing it, and it was fun being bad little kids. But um, something always felt off with boys, like almost like I was out on the other side of a window or something, like we're all playing together but not, and I'm not really one of them. I felt way more comfortable hanging out with the girls and doing what the girls were doing, and there's just like a sense of how the friendship just kind of flowed, and like it meshed well with girls. So I look back and I'll pause this and we'll pick right back up. So like I look back and the lunch table had a good mixture of boys and girls in high school, and even in elementary school. Like I genuinely liked girls as like friends better than most of the boys. And then we kind of slid into middle school. Um, I would often be hanging out with the girls more than the boys. I would go play Foursquare and stuff, which I think was actually a girls' thing, and I loved tetherball. And I just was always with the girls doing the girl things. I can't say always, but a lot of the time. That continued through high school, and I'm looking back, like I was always standing in the group of girls. The guys were over doing the guy stuff, and I'd kind of mingle back and forth, but most of the time I was standing there with the girls. I just felt more comfortable with them, and I didn't even realize it at the time. But in looking back, like, yes. And then the later years and end of high school here, it was the same thing. Like, all of the closest friends I have are all females. I've got some good guy friends, but there's just not this like level of closeness I have with the ones that are female, and it's totally platonic. So I'll pause this and pick back up. Okay, so we're picking back up with like how I hung out with all the girls and stuff. So as an adult, a young adult, and I guess slightly older adult, because now I'm old, I found myself hanging out with girls all the time. There was a house I used to go party at. One of my really good friends used to play like Magic the Gathering and stuff with. His girlfriend lived there, and I would just go there and hang out because there's a bunch of other girls that hung out there, but like it was all platonic. We were just friends. I wasn't trying to like hook up with any of them or anything. I would actually help her take care of her kid and watch them. I would watch an ex-girlfriend of mine. I would watch her kid there too. Um, so I'm doing like childcare. I'm hanging out with girls in a girl's house, and I look back to like when I hung out with the boys, hung out with all my guy friends. Some of them would have their girlfriends over too while we partied and did whatever we did, and I would hang out with their girlfriends more than I did them. Um, a lot of them probably thought I was trying to hook up with their girls because we would actually also hang out. Like, they wouldn't even be around, and I would just hang out with their girlfriends. I'm going to do a quick pause and come back to that. Okay, so yeah, I'm like hanging out with my guy friends' girlfriends all the time. And I had a lot of like other friends that were female that like weren't dating anybody in our circle. And it's like, how is that not obvious at this point? But it just wasn't. I mean, I knew what I was, and I knew that I liked men too. I didn't like any of my guy friends like that, so if any of you happen to stumble across this video, it's just not going to happen. Kidding. Not kidding, it's not going to happen. But I just didn't like you like that, so no worries. But it's just crazy to like look back at all of this, the clothes, doing what girls did, playing with the girls all through school, hanging out with the girls as an adult. Like, how is this just not obvious at this point? So, oh gosh, one more thing I totally forgot to talk about. I talked about music and how I like to play it, but I liked so much girl music back then, and I can't just drive around with the boys and be like blasting No Doubt or Avril Lavigne or um, Alanis Morissette. Garbage, love Garbage. I listened to so much girl music in private, and that was one of the fun things about hanging out with all of my friends' girlfriends and all the women girls that I used to hang out with was that they like girl music, and so it like just added to like the whole energy of hanging out with the girlies. What we're gonna do is I'm gonna cut this video short because we're probably into the 15 to 20 minute range, and I'll pick back up with like relationships and when I started realizing that I like guys and stuff too, and like how that progressed. So until next time, love you.